On this week's episode, we talk about If,
Imaginary Friend,
and other pop culture news from the week. So today we got to go see the movie If from Ryan Reynolds and John Krasinski. We took our little girls with us. It was delightful.
Yes, the movie came out, I want to say 2, maybe 3
a
weeks
week
ago.
or 2. Mm-hmm.
So we're a little behind, but the movie's still out. It's worth it.
Yeah.
It's John Krasinski directed and wrote the film, and he also has a role in the movie. I mean, acting role. And I had my concerns because, you know, nowadays with pop culture being infected by woke mentality, with so many agendas that corrupt the storytelling by trying to preach some idea. It always happened, but nowadays it's like they're not even trying. You know, in the past, this happened naturally inside of the story. You would learn, or you would be preached, and you would not feel like, what? Now it's like, forget the story. We're not here to tell the story. We're here to preach. And there's like many people doing that. Lucasfilm, there's the girl, the woman that show runs. There's a showrunner for the Acolyte that says this is not about Star Wars. This is about our agenda. Kathleen Kennedy has been doing that and saying about that. So pop culture is in a terrible shape. So even though this movie was marketed for PG, is rated PG, and it clearly has infancy children elements, and I still had my concerns because Disney, the house of ideas for children and family, or it used to be, is completely corrupted by these things. So I had my concerns. I did some research, and I was like, okay, let's go and take the kids. We took our 2 girls, 5 and 7.
They enjoyed it. The 7-year-old especially has been begging to go and see it. And although they did get a little squirrely because sitting still for an hour and 45 minutes is a lot for them, they did really enjoy it, and so did I. It was, so despite his concerns about it being kind of working in like wokeness and stuff, this is actually like a really timeless, lovely,
that's true,
like family classic with really like universal themes about like childhood and parents and like loss and grief and growing up and just all this really lovely stuff.
Yeah, and being a kid and moving from being a kid. I start talking about how the woke thing. This film is pretty much woke free, and even in some,
it's just like solid storytelling. It's really beautiful.
Even you couldn't tell, honestly. You couldn't tell if this movie was made I don't know, 20 years ago. Besides the visual effects, of course, 20 years ago,
which were quite well done. Yeah,
I mean, besides the visual effects being well done, that 20 years ago, I'm not sure if it would be the case. It has all the elements of classic 80s, 90s movies with a fun story, with family. The characters work really well together. They have their own journeys, and nobody is better than everybody, and everything comes together in a very, very nice way. Anyways, so besides my worries about it, I thought it was really well done. Even simple things that, Netflix shows or broadcast shows or any movies, they insert some things that they wanted to make it normal. They wanted to make current, but it's actually like a very minority. In this case, they don't even touch that. They tell the story. They came to tell the story, to entertain, with fantasy, with joy, and with drama. There's a character evolution to drama, but with a happy ending. I'm not spoiling, because if you're going to see this movie, you assume it's gonna be a happy ending. So don't be surprised.
Super just whimsical, lovely, really solid acting.
So many talents
across the board. Yeah. So yeah, it was beautiful. It was fun. Lovely music. We were all humming the theme as we walked out of the theater. Yeah. So this is a great movie. I highly recommend it. I think it's one that anyone could enjoy, but it's definitely geared more towards children. Some of the writing there's one aspect of it that Alex and I were like, oh yes, we see what's happening here, but our girls were like, what? Totally surprised. So it's definitely geared towards children, but one that I think anyone could enjoy.
Yeah, but
it was really lovely.
At the same time, they take some care for adults, because you see that character, even though he's there, he doesn't do things to.
No.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. To point out that it basically. Anyways, I'm not gonna say anything to spoil. It's a fun movie. You should see. You should take the kids, or you go see as a big kid. Krasinski is hilarious on it.
He's delightful.
Of course, Ryan Reynolds is hilarious on it. The girl, I can't remember her name, but she's really good.
And she basically carries the movie. Like it's all her. Yeah.
I honestly went to see the movie. What catch me to see was like Steve Carell, the voice of Gru, and many other things. And I was like, oh, okay, you got me. And Ryan Reynolds was out. That's gonna be fun. And she does. It is her movie. It is her show. Yeah. It's they dare. They have the important, but it's a show, and she does terrifically. She was Judith on The Walking Dead, and she played young characters. Like she played young Grey on Star Wars sequels. She played, what was the other one I mentioned?
I can't remember.
Young someone else young. Wonder Kid. She's great.
Yeah, she's very good. I think this is also, I got lots of warm fuzzies watching this, knowing that like both John Krasinski and Ryan Reynolds, like they're both very devoted like husbands and fathers, and I feel like this movie really played to those strengths as like dads, and it's just really lovely all around. Super wholesome, whimsical, checks all the boxes. It's great.
They did bring the wives. They voice a couple characters.
There are a lot of characters.
Other talented voices.
Yeah. He was kind of like they got all their friends to come and do a few lines.
Yeah.
So that's a fun thing to listen for. One actor in particular, I think, had a really standout performance. But you got to watch the credits to really know and recognize who he is and what he did for the film.
Talking about that, the very last scene is not even a post credit; it's part of the movie. The very last scene, it makes me wonder: is that a joke, or there's a connection for more? Who knows?
Yeah.
Anyways, it's very interesting. It plays on the concept of imaginary friends. And adding to that, it plays of something similar that Monsters Inc. did. The imaginary friends are out there. They have their whole
unseen world,
and how they in relationships with the real world. So it's very creative. It's very cool. Very fun. The movie is.
The trailer makes it look super derivative of Foster's Home for Imaginary. There's a Cartoon Network show that, and the trailer was like super derivative of that. The movie's not at all.
I don't know. I never seen the show, but it's fun. Of course, because the box office is a mess all over the board. The movie is not performing well. But again, the box office is a mess. Also, some people claim that is this not purposely, this intentional staying away from the woke thing is losing the woke side, and people there they don't want to see that. Tired of that and not going to see anyway. So it's losing on both fronts. So, but
which really doesn't make sense, because it's not like the movie is anti-woke. They're not, burning pride flags or anything.
Yeah, but
it's just not.
But Hollywood is, like the Academy said, if you don't have this type of character in your movie, you're not gonna succeed. Chris Pratt said he's outspoken Christian, and people are like, "Oh, he's a terrible person. Let's not watch his movies." Even though he succeeded with Mario, it was bigger than that. So it doesn't have to go against. If you're not with that side of the crazies, you basically against. That's how it goes in Hollywood. And the movie is losing on both fronts because of that. Because people that would really love the movie are not going because they tired of Disney putting in the crap they are, and people that even don't support as much. They support, they loud, but they don't go watch the movies. Hence, Miss Marvel, the Marvels. Anyway, so the movie is not doing well, but we fully recommend you to see. It's fun. It has everything for a timeless classic. I mean, a timeless children's classic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fun.
It was very good. Yeah, so go check it out, especially now that it's pretty much summer break and all that good stuff. Okay, we watched a lot of stuff this week, and most of it was streaming. Either things that premiered on streaming or things that are now premiered in theaters and are now available. But let's start with Three Body Problem.
Okay, you don't want to stick to movies, then goes to series?
Well, I didn't put it in this order, man. This was your order.
Okay.
So I'll follow you.
Okay, let's stick to the movies.
Oh, okay.
And then we go to the series. So, we saw two other movies. Two movies that are relatively not old, but they are on streaming now, so they are out of the theaters for a while. One never went to the theaters. And those movies are American Fiction and Damsel. Let's start talking about American Fiction. It's available now on Amazon Prime Video with Edgar. Oh, crap. Is it Edgar? It's not Edgar.
I see his face and I just think Bernard from Westworld, even though he's done so many other things. Yeah. But it's that guy.
Yeah.
He was a lovely actor. And
based on a book named Erasure. This is about a book named My Pathology.
Well, yeah, specifically it's about an author, and he's like a professor of literature. He's African American, and none of the things he's writing are getting any traction. And so he just is kind
doesn't write as a black man. That's a claim on the movie.
Well, and then the very, very short version, with increasing financial pressures from his family, he's kind of joking around and writes a fake memoir of his life as a fugitive and as a criminal and an ex-con, coke addict, murderer, all those rest of that stuff, called My Pathology, and it takes off. He gets so much money. Hollywood movie rights, huge publishing deal, all the rest. And as he struggles to deal with all that. That's what's presented in the trailer. And that alone I thought was very intriguing. But then the movie, I thought there was so much more depth and heart in the movie than what was shown in the trailer. And I don't really want to spoil that.
Jeffrey Wright, that's
there we
his name.
go.
Yeah. Also Tracy Ellis Ross and what's the name of that guy? Keith David and Sterling K. Brown, among other people. Saray. Yeah.
So it's it's very funny. It's very emotional, and I thought very at the risk of sounding like one of the white characters who is just completely lampooned throughout the movie, deservedly so. I thought it was a really interesting look at race and how we deal with race in entertainment and in literature, and how black people are expected to be one particular way and pigeonholed in one thing, but maybe there's a whole lot more. Anyway, it's just very interesting and funny and thoughtful.
Yeah, again, the movie was based on a book. It did win an Oscar for Best Adapted Screenplay.
Oh, that's right.
So it's fun, it's interesting. It shows it's very funny and compelling on how pandering for whatever group it will not help that group. It will make that group annoyed, if anything, or even offended. And it was very interesting to see that portrayed on the movie. And and at the end, not spoiling, at the end, this whole writer creating moves in different levels, because then is writing, creating a book, and now is writing, creating, adapting a movie, which is very interesting on how the movie inside the movie ends and how the movie itself ends. Is very meta, it's very funny, very very interesting, and is is probably the first, if not the last, movie to win an Oscar for screenplay that says the words what was the words award bait on it.
That's right. Yeah, that was
very very funny.
It did very much make fun of like awards.
Yeah.
Like the Oscars and their
write a movie to
efforts to be diverse, but then how just like absurd. Anyway, it's really interesting, thought-provoking, but also just like very funny. And even without all the thought-provoking stuff, there's this really beautiful story of like a struggling family going through it. So
that was surprised because the trailer doesn't touch any of that.
Yeah, and like I don't want to spoil it, but just know like there's
again,
a lot more going on here than.
But again, it's called American fiction, so I guess behind the fiction there was bits of reality. It was very interesting. It's on Amazon Prime Video. We recommend.
I definitely recommend it. It's worth watching. Not a family film, but definitely worth a look. Okay, Damsel.
The other movie we saw on streaming was Damsel on Netflix. This one has been a while there. Straight to Netflix, produced by Netflix, with Millie Bobby Brown. She got the deal after the huge success of Enola Holmes. And she got the deal to make this movie. And success has been big numbers. For several weeks, we finally had the chance. I've been having that on the list, but all the things been showing up and anyway. So we finally saw it, and very entertaining. She does great, but that's not a surprise because she's been. I mean, she does so far. I don't think. What else she does? She did Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. She was Enola Holmes. She was in one of the. Wasn't she one of like the Godzilla?
That's right.
Movies?
Oh yeah, but that's tough too because she was like, it's a big cast and her role was not this big.
And her role was also basically 11.
Oh, and also it's Godzilla. Nobody goes to see an actor it's Godzilla.
All due respect to the actors appearing in those films, we are there for the Titans show.
Yeah, it's anyways.
Excuse me.
So she's great. The movie is interesting. It's compelling.
Yeah, it was fun. I think it was a really fun fantasy movie that like plays to like all the fantasy tropes, but twists a few things around enough that I found it quite interesting.
Yeah.
Like many fantasy films, if you're gonna, this isn't high fantasy, but like many fantasy stories, if you think about some things too hard, you're gonna mess it up. This is one to just sit back and be entertained.
It's fantasy for brainless.
No, that's not what I said. I said sit back and enjoy it. Because a lot of fairy tales, a lot of the stuff, if you start asking questions, it falls apart pretty fast. You just enjoy the lovely story. Enjoy like the armor and the dresses and the swords and the dragons.
Yes.
Enjoy it. It's fun.
Yeah, woman with swords. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was good. There's like just one note. There's like it's woman centered, but no, that's not a problem. But it's like it's done in a way that you notice like there's a king dead that doesn't say anything. The bad guy is a woman. It's out for a while. So the dragon is a woman. I feel. I mean, I like that her father had an important role. I guess that helped move away from the run Lola run type of universe.
Yeah, and I feel like it was like very very woman centric, and it was supposed to be on purpose, but not at the expense of men. Yeah. Like it was even handed. Like it wasn't like good guy women and bad guy men, or intelligent women and stupid men. It was all kind of evenly spread around. Just most of our characters were women.
I mean, the father, there's that redeeming moment, but at that point, he screws up big time. His house is daughter.
Yeah, but we see him at the beginning and at the.
Yeah. Either way, I mean, I thought that talking about.
He wasn't evil. He was just conflicted.
Yeah, talking about main character. Not only the king is a moron. Not a moron. He doesn't speak. We can't say he's a moron. He's mute.
He has one whole line.
And it's like, where are you going? It's like, anyways. But the princess and the idiot is like, it's. I don't know if his writing or a terrible acting, but it doesn't feel like he's a bad guy and he regrets. Does he regret?
But he kind of has to be kind of a weak, kind of a spineless character. Like that's what the story calls for.
Yeah, but even for spineless, I think they could do better.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, she steals the show, and I guess maybe that was the purpose. Maybe they made everybody suck so she would shine, and she does. It's a fun movie. It's available on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Damsel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Damsel is PG-13, but it's pretty clean.
Sounds right. Yeah, there's some gruesome imagery.
Yeah.
At first I was like, oh, the girls would love this. I was like, no, they don't need to see that.
Yeah, one of the reasons why I stalled on putting it on the list was like, I wanted to watch with the girls, but I felt like Netflix you should watch first to make sure not only ratings but the message. But yeah, there's some pretty dark moments, burn people.
Yeah, think like not quite as drawn out as like the villain deaths at the end of Indiana Jones movies, but like on par with that. Like
but that's okay for kids. I saw that when I was 5.
I had nightmares about some of that stuff.
Anyways, Damsel available on Netflix. You should watch this one. Yeah,
it was a good one. Okay. Now, can we talk about 3-Body Problem?
Okay, now let's talk about the shows. We saw many shows.
Yeah.
And 3-Body Problem, that's a Netflix, a new Netflix show. Doing good numbers, doing good audience. It's based on a series of books. And, yeah, you go ahead.
Excuse me.
All cost.
So, like almost everything else, we haven't read these books. I'm actually trying to like read ahead on books for projects coming out, but anyway, haven't read the books. I thought this series was really interesting. It's science fiction, but like a really not like a shoot 'em up action science fiction, like a very cerebral, what do? We have to save the world, but like lots of like physics talk, and it's very, very fun, and very interesting. We've got a compelling set of characters, and kind of an unusual, like it's based on some familiar sci-fi tropes, but they're giving it to us in kind of different ways and fun ways. And we've got some moral dilemmas. We've got like villains, but are they villains? Like it's fun. It's very interesting. It's working on a lot of levels. I would recommend it for sci-fi fans out there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if you're talking about villains, if villains are villains. I think it's pretty clear the villains are at this point. Unless something big changes next seasons, we know what the villains are.
But like we have people doing like the wrong thing, but for kind of like sympathetic reasons, and we have people doing very bad things, but for the right reason maybe, and then. I don't know, like some of that stuff where like some of the lines are getting blurred.
And again, that's relative. If it becomes a big twist at the end or next seasons or so, the guys you think are good are bad. The guys you think are bad are good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. We could.
But again, it depends when it.
And comes. Some people like switching sides. There's like some character growth and development. People like bad guys going like, oh wait a second, and good guys like, I don't know, man, I got to do it. Like it's.
Yeah, but again, a lot of that going on. Again, I would be surprised if it twists because as we've seen so far, it's fun, it's interesting, but I don't think it would be as much as twist. 180, and it's like whoa. So, but it's very interesting concepts and stories. It has a good cast, It's again, it's based on the book, and Netflix is produced by the same guys that produced Game of Thrones, Heis and Benioff. And Netflix signed a deal with them, committing to finish the story. They're gonna write seasons for the other books, so they're gonna finish it. And
yeah, the story absolutely does not finish with the first season. I wasn't prepared for that, and I was really disappointed.
Yeah.
That I have to wait for more. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
X-Files, anyone? 10 seasons?
Yeah, no, I understand how this works, and I was disappointed then. Not disappointed. Upset then, and I'm upset now. Like when you get to the end of a season, you're like, yeah.
I was reading this whole article on how Shogun and some other phenomenons, they basically the fact that Shogun was renewed. The show, it only has one book, one season. The fact that they're gonna do two more seasons at least for the show, it's very symptomatic of the death of the miniseries. That was a phenomenon back on the day on TV, and maybe I don't think streaming has any miniseries phenomenon. But anyways, there's if you're really good, they will force you to make more. And by force you, I don't mean like they're gonna put a gun on your face. They're gonna offer you so much money, like The Godfather is like, offer you can refuse. And there you go. The story that was a miniseries might go like in Dark Knight. You either die as a miniseries or you live long enough to become a crappy series. So there's no more miniseries. That's my point. That's is a thing of the past. Because if it's really good, sometimes it not even does need to be really good. If it's good enough to, justify pay for more, they're gonna pay for more, even though it ends. So, yeah. So it's like one season. You have to be unless the creators are very, very independent on the show in drama and sci-fi, fantasy, and many types of genres of show. You cannot do that. But unless they're creative enough to end, but not end, make it living in a way that's like if there's another season, great. If there's not, well, what are you gonna do, right? Didn't you see the end? But anyways. But
for me the ending of Shogun, like I was ready like, okay, this is the end, we're done, we're gonna like put a bow on this like perfect show and call it good. And then that whole speech at the end was basically like, I'm just getting started, and you can't drop a bomb like that.
But it's history.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But the guy kept living.
You're gonna make a show for the history. The rest of the research Japan non-stop.
I could think of worse things.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad. But like, I'm not saying it's bad. But
there's plenty more source material. Yeah. Because, like you said, like there's the whole history of Japan or the Shogunate period or.
But I'm not saying it's bad.
Just saying, if you want to end it as a miniseries, you should like end it instead of saying, "But there's so much more."
The objective was to tell that story. It's like a movie has beginning and has end. You don't have to make 16.
You don't. You don't, and we could bring that up again when they talk about we'll go see another Fast and Furious movie, but
those are fun.
And Shogun wasn't.
They didn't have cars on Shogun.
Yeah, but I guess
or cars that jump.
I'm just saying,
cars
like,
that fly.
All I'm saying is that if you want it to be, if the writers were like really committed to that being, I feel like they left the door open, and this wasn't like. I feel like they knew this was coming because it all happened so fast. But again, that ending, that was not an ending. Totally not. Like they basically said this was a prequel. This was prologue.
That's the thing. It's like it's not the ending. Nothing is never the end because life goes on. By those arguments, you can continue any movie, good or bad, any series, good or bad. Better Call Saul. Spoiler alert: he ends up in prison right? You might do another season that escapes from prison. So the end there was very definitive.
Mm-hmm.
It could not be, because life goes on. So unless
but
the
there's
character
ways
dies,
to, like, say this story's over.
I thought they ended really nicely.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna do more. Sure, you're gonna watch, but I think it was not on purpose was not fishing for another season.
Mm-hmm.
Because talking about writers, I mean, of course, writers want to keep writing because that's how they live. But I think they did. Like the guy on American Fiction is like, let's see how far these fools go, if they're gonna give us another season for a story that ended.
If loving Shogun makes me a fool, then fine.
I'm talking about you. I'm talking about the suits that have nothing to do with creatives. They let's see, and it's like, it's like Hamlet 2. It was so good, we need more. So, anyways, but back to
Three Body Problem
was
not meant to be a miniseries. It's quite deliberately written as
it's a series of books. Yes.
Yeah, but I thoroughly enjoyed all of it, and I highly recommend. I feel like this would be like for fans of Interstellar. Like if you liked Interstellar, I feel like you like this one.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more like that brand of
expectations.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not a Christopher Nolan film.
Yeah.
But, like, it's more that genre of science fiction.
Yeah. Okay, we have 2 more shows to go, so let's pick it up.
Okay, Baby Reindeer.
Baby Reindeer.
Jeez Louise.
This one is interesting for different reasons than writing. Writing is okay. But this one, the author of the show, the creator of the show, and also the main actor of the show produced this based on something that he claims that really happened to him. A stalker got into his life and made his life miserable, and everything around it. She was out on the news claiming that nothing happened. But
here's what's interesting to me, though. He doesn't. He uses a different name.
Sure.
For her, he calls her one thing in the show. She's called like Martha Scott, I think, something like that. Martha Scott. This woman who came forward has a completely different name. Yeah. So I feel like, why would she think it's about her if it's not actually about her?
But again, I didn't deny it wasn't her.
Yeah, but it's kind of weird. Don't you think it's kind of weird that, like, if someone writes a show about, or someone writes a story about someone with a different name from you doing things that you never did, and then for you to come forward and be like, that's not what happened. I just feel like that's a little odd.
Yeah. Anyways, but he writes this. He claims all happens to him, and it's on Netflix. It's interesting. It has very, very compelling elements of this whole. In the beginning, you don't understand why things are happening as they are happening, but as the show goes and things are revealed by the main characters, and you understand, it's like, oh, that's why this person did this, that's why this person allowed this to happen, because there's a lot of trauma involved, there's a lot of on both sides. It's tragic, but it's also funny because
there are some very funny moments. It gets really dark, but then there's like some beauty in it, and he's really nothing about it is cut and dry. This isn't like, I don't know, criminal victim. Like he gets into this whole like bizarre relationship, and I thought it was very interesting and very compelling the whole way through.
And again, Baby Reindeer, available on Netflix. This one is a miniseries, contrary to what I just said, and not quite so mini. Anyways, but it's short episodes, so you can be real quick, and it's interesting. You should check. It's doing good numbers on Netflix as well.
Yeah.
The Veil is this spy thriller on Hulu, FX on Hulu, with Elizabeth Moss, and it's personally, I thought it had some problems. It was interesting, but there's some things, timing. I think it goes hard on some dramas, and it doesn't balance the action, spy thriller elements with personal dramas. All that is not balancing properly. It is a FX show. It ends on maybe. Now you tell me, since you said Shogun was written to end.
Yeah, no, I could say this one is ambiguous. You could do more with her character. You could leave it there and it'd be fine. I feel like if this had been successfully executed, I feel like if the writing I feel like it suffered from a poor screenplay or mediocre screenplay. If that had been better, then I would want more from this character, because it is an interesting idea, like a kind of a different kind of spy thriller that's a little bit more nuanced, maybe attempting to be a little bit more realistic, a little bit less James Bond, which is fine. That could be really interesting. I feel like this one just missed the mark. So and as a result, like, it just dragged. We could have cut like 2 or 3 episodes out.
Yeah.
Balancing some stuff, and then there was like this weird like twist at the end, but then they did like the same twist right after.
Again, yeah.
Wait, what? So for me, it wasn't successful. I wanted it to be. It started very compelling and interesting, but it kind of dropped off.
The trailer
after that.
The trailer, I thought was, oh, that's cool. I felt like Alias meets 24. I was like, oh, that's cool. And it was no. The trailer had like the Alias 24 elements, and the show had like a lot of drama. There was anyway. But like
drama, it wasn't compelling. Like, I never got caught up in these characters at all, and some of them seemed like they were really sloppily written, and I don't know if they actually were, or if it was just like I missed something. I don't know. It didn't work for me. And Elizabeth Moss, like, I feel like that was so promising, because like Shining Girls and Invisible Man, we've seen her do similar roles. Like, we know she can do this, but I think the writing just let her down. Yeah. So sorry.
What's it called? The Veil. The Veil is available on Netflix, on Hulu, FX and Hulu. The entire season, maybe show. I don't think I make more. They might. I mean, they're investing hard on it. They're shooting all over the place. Istanbul.
That's true.
France. England. So, Syria. No, that's Syria. What was it?
I don't know if they shot in Syria, but there's a setting
near Istanbul.
On the Turkish border, the Syrian-Turkish border.
I was in Turkey. Yeah. Anyways, so The Veil available on FX, Hulu.
Okay, last but not least, The Sympathizer.
The Sympathizer. Talking about shows that were like,
way too long.
And it was like, I feel like I feel like I was trapped. I feel like I was lied to. I mean, to be honest, to be 100% honest, Robert Downey Jr. That's why I was like, let's watch this show. It has RDJ doing TV, right? He's playing like 17 different characters.
Which feels like a gimmick, and they give us about a 15-second... maybe 30-second scene in like the last episode that finally explains why, but you spend the rest of the episodes just being really distracted by Robert Downey Jr. appearing over and over in bizarre makeup and prosthetics. Yeah.
So, but the movie is the show is based on a book, inspired by a real character, and it's exactly what it is. It's a communist sympathizer. In this case,
not just a sympathizer, he's a full-on, like, undercover spy.
Yeah, he's full-on communist. Yeah. Why do you call it sympathizer then?
I don't know.
Who was the sympathizer? Nobody. He wasn't, because he was full-on. Yeah. So, and he infiltrates the other side in Vietnam, and then he goes to America, and then there's all that, and then at the end, it's not clear if he regrets, because he leaves all the trail of dead people, all the ghosts of the people he killed, direct or indirectly, because of betraying. And I was like, oh, okay, comedy sucks. So, what a waste.
For me, there were some interesting things about this series that like made me really root for it. A lot of this, continuing with what we've seen in like Shogun and other stuff, we have Vietnamese characters speaking Vietnamese on screen, which is cool. It does mean you have to deal with subtitles, but that's not terrible.
Again, allegedly. It's Hollywood. I don't know. I don't speak Vietnamese.
This is true. So we do have to take their word for it.
Yeah.
But I was also very interested to see a story about the Vietnam War told from a Vietnamese perspective, because like we've seen the like 70s alt rock as the helicopters fly over the jungle. Like we've seen that so many times. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just the story's been told. So this was initially really refreshing. For me, it lost me because it dragged a lot, and the Robert Downey Jr. thing felt gimmicky up until that 30 seconds in the last episode where it suddenly all made sense, but we had to get through a lot of gimmick to get there. And then we never understood why he was communist. We see him like struggling with his like dual identity as a spy and how hard this is for him, and like the moral dilemmas and all the rest.
Yeah,
but like
losing friends, losing love. Because of his
losing
ideology.
his soul, his integrity, like he sacrifices everything, and I still don't feel like we ever got like a good reason why. It doesn't really make sense, and so in a big way, it kind of
I mean, I guess it's tough to explain, because a good explanation for us non-communists, anti-communists from the free world to understand why he would do that is because he was being pushed by a threat. Like, if you don't do this, you kill your family. That never happens.
I would even accept just like being passionate about Vietnamese independence, because that was a big part. That was the big appeal for a lot of people who took that side. It wasn't so much about being excited about communism. No, I'm not just talking about like actual history. Like a lot of Vietnamese who took that side, it was more about being independent from colonizers like France and then the U.S. It was about Vietnamese independence and not about communism. Anyway.
But we
don't see that in the series.
Case, it doesn't feel like it's like communism is treated like I don't know, a flavor of ice cream. You pick one or the other, and not like a terrible system. In this show, is picked just like that. You know, it's his side, and he's fighting for his side. But it doesn't show why he picked that side and how bad that side is. If anything, try to show the other side as bad, but it doesn't show how good the other side is. So it's too vague, it's too abstract, too long, and it's over. And
I think it could have made a really cool movie, but this was way too long. Like if we had taken all that and crunched that down,
I think the only way to
like
fix
2 hours.
It was if all the characters were played by Robert Downey Jr.
No. Unfortunately, none of the many characters he played were a reprise of his
Even the girls.
Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He's singing like, oh, Chala Lula, singing like in Vietnamese. Which you don't know if this is Vietnamese, because, unless you in Vietnam, so in that case, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But anyways.
You should be. That was rough.
Sympathizer. Sympathizer, right? Like American Fiction. Sympathizer is available on HBO Max if you want to check. Or not. There's other cool things there. Is that all the shows?
That's all the shows.
Okay.
So, real quick look at the box office. Furiosa and this is a sentence I never thought I'd say. Furiosa and Garfield are in a tight race for number 1, but number 1 isn't that great because the Memorial Day box office was like the lowest it's been in decades.
Yeah.
So
26 years.
Yeah.
They tied up around 32 million.
Okay.
Ironically, this is the best Mad Max premiere, I think. No.
Really?
No. Fury Road has to be made more. Anyways,
I don't know.
Forget that. Scratch that.
Okay.
But because Furiosa did so poorly, the new Mad Max, the next George Miller Mad Max movie, it's compromised. It might never come to be. Which sucks because big old fans were like dying to see old Max, like Mel Gibson coming back.
That'd be cool.
But it might never happen.
Even though
Mel Gibson He was at the premiere of Fury Road, the previous movie,
Ah.
in Cannes, with George Miller sitting right by him, and he had really good reactions. He really liked it.
Oh yeah, what's not to
Yeah.
like? Okay.
And by all means, Furiosa is not bad.
No, I think it fits right in with.
But it didn't deliver.
Okay, Elon Musk is starting an AI company, and they've raised $6 billion.
Yeah, he's filthy
So-
rich and keeps making more money,
Yeah.
and now he's investing in AI.
Okay, Netflix is working on a Minecraft animated series.
Well, we'll see. I have no feelings. I honestly never played Minecraft. Don't have interest. It's 8-bit. I play 8-bit games when they were 8-bit, and you
Yeah.
had no choice.
Yeah, this one I feel like you had to be like a certain age to really get into it, and I was too old when it got very popular, but it got really popular. So we shall see. This one sounds really interesting. Chris Hemsworth is in talks for a G.I. Joe Transformers crossover,
Hey,
which sounds like stupid fun,
yeah.
like in the best possible
you
way.
mean awesome fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of like Damsel. Like, we're not going to think too hard about this. We're just going to have fun with it.
Another one. There's rumors about the new Masters of the Universe He-Man movie.
Yeah.
They pick a He-Man. It's not Zac Efron, as it should, because the way he looks.
Oh my gosh.
He looks on what's the show
Yeah.
called?
Oh shoot. The
Claw?
family?
Iron
No.
Claw?
Iron Claw. Yeah.
Iron Claw. He's He-Man.
He looks exactly like
Yeah.
He-Man. He's got the jaw. He has the. Frankly, it's a terrible haircut.
Yeah, but it's He-Man's haircut. They picked a younger guy. We come with the name next following weeks because I can't remember.
Okay, cool. Hacks was renewed for a 4th season.
Yeah, the 3rd season is just ended. Or we went this week. No, it just ended last week.
Yeah.
And it was renewed for a 4th season.
See, this is one I think was a terrible idea. We thought we had a beautiful ending. That was a perfect time to end that
season
show.
2.
That was season 2?
Yeah.
They should have ended it at the end of season
There's
2 because that was the
more.
perfect ending.
Yeah, we didn't
Dag
catch up
nabbit.
yet. So.
All right.
Hey, sometimes you end and it's not the end. Sometimes you don't end and they want you to
I
make
know,
more.
but when you deliver a perfect ending, they should
Yeah.
respect that and be like, all right, we'll move on.
It's like in classic soap operas, right? It's like, but my character died. It's like, don't worry, you can bring it back. But that's like the body was pushed on the furnace was pulverized. It's like, no, don't worry, we found a way.
Yeah.
We'll find a way.
That's nothing. All right, we're going to finish up with some pretty strong words from George Lucas.
George Lucas, this is the last from the Cannes Festival. George Lucas was there. He was honored with the honorary Palme d'Or. Well deserved. The man did a lot for the industry. And among some of the things we heard from him is that he made more than we actually know. He was involved in a lot of movies, and he made sure he was not named. Among those,
Interesting.
I didn't put my name on a bunch of movies, he declared, and among those, the crime movie Body Heat, he was heavily involved, and we had no idea. So he chose to because he said if he put his name on it, it stops being about the movie and being about him. Unless it's Star Wars. Star Wars, it got its own life, but anything else. Is George Lucas, the director of Star Wars, directing this? So he was conscious of that, and he chose not to.
That's a pretty cool move, actually.
Yeah. Other things we learned from him.
You want me to just read it?
Read the next one.
He says, I was the one who really knew what Star Wars was, who actually knew this world, because there's a lot to it. The Force, for example, nobody understood the Force. When they started other ones after I sold the company, a lot of the ideas that were in the original sort of got lost. But that's the way it is. You give it up. You give it up.
So yeah, he's showing a little bit of frustration on what they did with the sequel, but who doesn't? Disney, made their thing and they making it and ruin it, and he's like, whatevs, right? I'm out. So yeah. And another thing he talked about it was as a director, as a creator, about going back in '97, going back and changing
the special editions
on the special editions. And he said about it, I'm a firm believer that the director of the writer or the filmmaker should have the right to have his movie be the way he wants it. I'm a stubborn guy, and I did not want people to tell me how to make my movies. So he was from a generation of directors, authors that overcame the old Hollywood producers cinema and to do the movies they wanted it. And so was Spielberg, Coppola, Scorsese, and many others. And about Scorsese, but let me finish this. And they did. And now we're going back to the cycle of producers, Kathleen Kennedy, Kevin Feige, where the directors are mere employees. They do what the producer want, and I guess they make money and move along. But yeah, so there's that. The lack of that is it's a thing these days. But yeah, about Scorsese and Lucas, also he said that the art of moving pictures is what's on the screen, and if it's on the screen, it's art, and basically going against what Scorsese was talking about, some superhero movies on how those are. Yeah. Anyways.
I think that's all we got this week. That was a lot.
Okay. I guess you come back next week. Thank you for following, liking, sharing. Our page is getting a lot of likes, sharing, some commentary, some weird, some fun.
The internet's a crazy place, man.
And they gathering around us because we watched them. But anyway, so we always available on our pages on Facebook, on our Instagram, our videos on YouTube, podcasts on everywhere you can find podcasts. So follow us, like us, share, subscribe, and let us know what you think, what you're watching, what you would like us to watch, and comment. We watch old stuff too. We don't comment about some of the old stuff we watch because, well, it's old. I don't know if it interests people.
Been around a while.
Like we just saw Austin Powers. Hello, baby.
Oh my gosh.
It was fun. It's like wine. It's better with time.
Is it though?
It is. I mean, you don't know. You don't drink wine.
I don't drink wine, and I didn't watch the movies when they came out, but I wasn't like super impressed.
I feel like it matured really well.
Did it?
Yeah.
Mature is not a word. Mature is not the word I would use to describe that film.
Yeah. Well, there's two more.
Yay.
We're gonna enjoy that. You didn't think it was funny?
There were some funny moments.
There you go. I rest my case.
Mike Myers,
so that's it for this week.
Mike Myers did his best work on SNL. I've been disappointed in his films.
That's Wayne's World.
Yeah, SNL.
No, on the movie.
I haven't seen the Wayne's World movie.
Okay, I know you're gonna watch
But that's
tomorrow.
a character that originated on SNL.
Yeah.
His stuff on SNL is hilarious, and I go to his movies expecting like that level, and I don't know. I'm just
like great cast, like Will Ferrell was there, and Robert Wagner, and
sure.
and
I'm not denying great
Elizabeth
cast. Really
Hurley.
fun concept, but like.
Yeah. It's like the James Bond's grandpa.
Yeah, no, I get the concept.
Anyways, that's it for this week. We come back next week from our pop culture news and entertainment. May the force be with you.
Live long and prosper.
Bye.
Bye.